Hello and welcome back in, you guys, to another One Piece post-game video, this time for chapter 1173. Just in case this is your first time tuning into one of these videos, maybe even your last time, we like to go through the comment section of the previous spoiler video just to see what everybody's talking about. The theories, the opinions, the hot takes. We're here for all of it, brother. So, with that being said, let's jump right on into it with the very first comment of the night. Emu is the reason fathers never come back from their milk run. Dude, he's on a roll, man. 4 fathers have died to Emu. And I bet when you go back to the Void Century, there's going to be even more victims. And hell, the story isn't over yet. Why not kill more fathers while he's at it? You know, why not kill Judge, Queen, maybe even kill Dragon, maybe even Garling? Emu, his KD record, it's not done yet. This says, the Chopper photo after explaining the cover page is diabolical, yeah. Dude, Chopper in that cover page, he looks, what's the right word to call it? He looks lustful. The way he's looking at Usopp is kind of wild, to be honest. He really just wants to suck off that nose, which, I guess, even though he has the human fruit, he's still an animal deep down. This says, Brook arc, yeah. Dude, every Straw Hat is getting a lot of love here in Elbaf. And the thing is, it didn't just start with Brook. Hell, Frankie got a little snippet with that ancient robot, or that ancient technology building thing. It looks like a robot, so forgive me when I say that. Then Robin had the whole Saul moment. She has the library. And now Brook is getting his little flashback here. Dude, I think there's enough in this arc for every Straw Hat to have a little moment. Hell, maybe Nami gets a moment. Maybe Usopp will reclaim his arc at the end of it. I think there's a lot of room for all the Straw Hats here. And hell, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, I think Elbaf is the gift that keeps on giving, brother. This says, Sommers is done for, and I can't wait to see the repercussions for his actions. Here's the thing, man. I guarantee you, this is not the first time St. Sommers is messed up. I mean, hell, go back to what Scopper Gabon said during the King Harold flashback. He said, yeah, you know, St. Sommers, I know that guy. We have fought multiple times in the past. We always slice and dice them and send them back to the Holy Land. Brother, this is not St. Sommers' first L. It's probably not going to be his last. And I think for me, it really boils down to whether or not they find another ship. If they can find another ship, or at least another escape route from Elbaf, I think he'll be fine. But if St. Sommers truly did destroy the entire mission, then maybe he is done for. That's kind of where I'm at right now, you know? If he can salvage it, if he can just fix the ship or find another one, I think he'll be solid. At this point, I really feel like Emu is used to the St. Sommers shenanigans. But maybe that's just me. This says, can't wait for Emu to kill Sommers like he did for Saturn next week and promote Ange from Blade of God to finally a Knight of God. I love how this theory has persisted, man. Ange is just so strange. Like, she has the spotlight, she doesn't have the spotlight. She had the whole thing where she told the kids to draw their nightmares on the day the Sandman appears, aka Killingham. And even in this current chapter, Jinbei's like, hey, you know, Ange just ran by us. If she's going to Branch 8 and she's going for the kids, she's gonna be kind of late. You know, she's really far behind. And it's like, dang, is she really doing that? I don't know, man. Yeah, Ange is such a strange character. It makes sense for her to want to go after the kids. I mean, this is her class, but still, you know, there's just something about Ange that I just can't put my finger on. And maybe it's because I have 2 to 3 videos now talking about how Ange is a villain hiding in plain sight. But you gotta admit, you know, even if you are an Ange is a good person believer, you gotta admit, she seems really sus. She seems really sus. And hell, even Killingham. Instead of beating Ange black and blue, he's a celestial dragon, that's not new, right? Beating a woman? Come on, that's their bread and butter. Instead of doing that, Killingham ordered Ange to set the library and school on fire. And after she was done, he said, good job, Ange. And he left? Really? He just left Ange there? Just to watch the school burn? There's just something weird about her. So I am excited. Of course, you know, if you go back to that Ange's Evil video that I made a long time ago, one of the main things is that we've been getting a lot of Norse mythology here in Elbaf. You cannot deny that. And one of the main, quote, main characters in Norse mythology is Angerboda, the mother of monsters. And ever since we met Ange, it's like, wait, is Ange short for Angerboda? Is this a villain hiding in plain sight? I don't know, man. Just my radars are going off whenever I look at Ange. And it's not just because she's ugly. Okay, it's partially because she's ugly, but you gotta admit, something is afoul here. Something is afoul. This says, to me, it seems like the spoilers make it look like Brook is somewhat angered and mad or saddened at the sight of Gunko, not just because she's a holy knight now, but because he may have saw her kill her father in person, ? Maybe she killed her father the same way Harold was taken over, but Brook just didn't know. Yeah, this is a really good question. I do not think Brook was there, and it goes back to the panel where Gunko is crying and she's screaming on father. If Brook really witnessed that moment and witnessed her crying and saying that, I feel like he'd be like, okay, something is weird here. You know, maybe Gunko didn't mean to do this. So if I had to put money down, I'd say that Brook was not there the day the king died. He probably just heard the rumors, kind of like Hiredin, right? Hiredin was not there the day King Harold died, and he just assumed that Loki did it. You know, everything is still up in the air. Obviously, I could definitely be wrong here, but this is a big question. How much does Brook actually know? Is he confident when he calls her the patricidal princess? Because that's a hell of a title, man. That is a hell of a thing to accuse somebody of without definite proof. But then again, we saw what happened with Sabo at the Reverie, right? Sabo was blamed for King Cobra's murder simply because he was in the room and he was posing up, right? So it could definitely be WG propaganda. Maybe Brook just fell for it. This is a big plot point that we'll have to find out sooner rather than later, hopefully. This says, imagine Somers being killed and Doflamingo replacing him. Dude, I wish Dofi came back with that sauce. But the thing with Doflamingo is that I feel like he would have joined the Knights of God and been a big Emu supporter 20 to 30 years ago. You know, when he came back with his father's head, he would have been that guy if they let him in. But because they turned him away, Doflamingo's dream is to drag celestial dragons through the mud, rip them off their perch, and to destroy the world. I don't know how he'd feel about getting an offer this late in the game, but it is on the board, you know? I would not be shocked if they do hand out an invitation. And what's funny about Doflamingo is that last we saw, obviously because the waters are rising and impelled down, he said, hey, Magellan, you heard the Vegapunk broadcast. Seems like we should go somewhere high up. That could mean a lot of things, but obviously the highest place in the world is the Red Line minus Sky Islands. So if they do go to the Holy Land, maybe he does get an invitation. But I just don't know if he'd accept it. I wish he would. I think Doflamingo as a Knight of God would go super tough, but who knows, man, who knows? And even then, would he be the last of his name? Because his family's all dead. The other Don Quixote, he was executed by Garling, so who knows how he'd feel about all of this. This says, my dumbass thought that's how the chapter starts. Oh, the Usopp thing? Yeah, my bad. Yeah, imagine that. Everybody is fighting for their life in the Sun Realm, and Usopp's over here putting honey on his nose. Oh my god. Yeah, the slander would never end. Granted, I have seen some Usopp slander in this chapter, just because he was, you know, pretending to have mind powers, and he was so convinced of it that he was doing it while nobody was looking too. He's like, hey, which, funny enough, he was shooting something out of his hands. You know, we saw like squiggle lines, so something was going on there, but then again, you know, Oda is all about the laughs. He also orchestrated the convoluted events that led to Teach's dad's death. Yes, when I mentioned Emu going around killing fathers, I did not mention Rocksteady Zebek, which was a very obvious one. But yes, Emu did orchestrate the Davy clan's annihilation. Open, here we go, another comment. Emu also killed Rock's Blackbeard's dad, yeah. Gunko being the Father Slayer could just be due to Emu already having a hold of -Adept's contract with Gunko and using her to kill her father. Yes, this is a very valid possibility. There's a lot of possibilities out there. And another route that I've been thinking about is maybe the Man Meyer family did this to her. We don't know what her connection is with them. Is she Shuri Man Meyer? Is she Shuri something else? We have no clue, but maybe the Man Myers played a vital role in her father's death, and that's why she is one today. A lot of questions there. The only thing that would make this infinitely funnier is if Saint Somers does the old man Joseph. Oh no. Dude, I love how we ended on the Saint Somers L. I mean, to be fair, I think next chapter is going to be a Saint Somers chapter. I think we will focus in on him because so many characters are converging at his location. Not only does he have the kids already, but the parents are going to arrive. The new giant warrior pirates are going to arrive. From the sounds of it, Ange is going to arrive. And last we saw too, Frankie said he wanted to go with Ripley to save the kids. Frankie has been MIA for like 30 chapters now. I think 30 is an exaggeration, but you guys catch my drift. And it's like, dude, everybody's going to St. Somers. He cannot lose this battle, dude. Not a single person I just listed has Conqueror's Hawk. If St. Somers gets blown away by all of them, maybe we do just kill him. Yeah, maybe we break the fourth wall and just kill him ourselves, guys, to save the God Knight agenda. Granted, I don't think anything's really saving it. Maybe Shamrock, but we'll see. Oda, New Year's resolution, take out more OP dads. Yeah, Oda looked at the chart, said, hey, I've been killing a lot of moms. Let's fix that real quick. You know, we gotta balance the scales, brother. I think Brook is going to sever the soul link between Emu and Gunko. Yes, this is a real possibility right here. You know, Brook does specialize in soul-based attacks. We don't know what that necessarily means, right? The soul is always such a weird realm. It was very effective against Big Mom. Will it be effective against Emu? It's hard to say. Emu seems to be a specialist in black magic. Does that involve the soul? It should, but we'll see. You know, the Abyss contract is so strange. We don't have a lot of details on it yet. So I would love to see if Brook can sever the link. Maybe he is the best person to fight Gunko. He could use his arrow not slash against Gunko's arrows, and it'll be a duel of the ages. And hell, maybe even whips out the guitar and plays music that liberates her. I think there's a lot of things Brook can do here. And I really like, you know, this might be a hot take, but I do enjoy the fact that Luffy and Loki are not present. Because if they were, we wouldn't be getting this great moment with Brook and Gunko. Brook and Gunko are a lot closer in age than I expected. You're right. Yeah, that was really surprising to me too. Because Brook right now is 90 years old. He said that Princess Shuri, the one that he knew, should be 80. That's kind of crazy. You know, going back to the brief Gunko flashback that we got, Brook was like a full-grown guy. You know, Brook was the same height he is today, and Gunko was like the size of Bonnie. That's a 10-year age difference? Ah, man, maybe Brook was over here, I don't know, stretching out his legs or something, man. That is a crazy, crazy height very early on. This has Summers. Making a Nell shocked face would be hilarious, yeah. I mean, that's essentially what he did. You know, we cut it off, like, right at the chin, but we know what's going on there, man. We know what's going on. He's got, like, the arms out and everything, mouth wide open. Oh, Luffy and Loki about to come into this next chapter with a superhero landing. Perhaps, for me, I just don't know what took them so long. I feel like once we do get Luffy and Loki arriving, they're gonna drop like a crazy one-liner. Like, oh, Loki, you kept on going the wrong direction. Or Loki's like, oh, Luffy, you're way too heavy. You're weighing me down. I can't fly properly. Which wouldn't make sense, but you guys catch my drift, right? That's usually how Luffy shows up. He shows up and it's like, it's a big moment. And he's like, oh, sorry, guys. We were doing this and, you know, things just got crazy. And here's the thing. If they don't show up next chapter, I do genuinely believe that somebody is holding them up. You know, hold them off for one chapter, sure. We can accept it. 2 chapters, a little bit odd. If they're not present for 3 chapters in a row, something's up. Something is amiss down in the underworld. This is, at this point, it seems like Oda is setting up the princess pirates. They pretty much have a full crew of princesses if they add non-princess girls too, like Bonnie and Carrot. And you are correct, there are a lot of princesses here. And it's funny you mentioned Carrot, because I'm pretty sure she is the leader of Zoe right now. So while she's not technically a princess, she plays the role of a princess, so I think that's good enough, right? That's good enough. Here's some hype points, brother. I'm so glad Brook is getting some shine. Me too. Yeah, you know, for me, I would love it if each and every Straw Hat had one big significant moment each arc. Because for Brook, people hype it up to hell and back. They're like, oh, you know, Whole Cake Island, that was Brook's arc. He looks so good. Personally, I'm not as impressed as other people out there when it comes to Whole Cake Island and Brook. I like it, but it just didn't blow my socks off. So I was always looking forward to the next big Brook moment, and here we go. This is everything I want. I got the emotional moments, we got the clash with Emu Gunko, and we're only going to get more as we go on, and I am so glad for it. I'm glad for the Brook fans out there, man. They're finally eating at the dinner table. This says, Sommers, he's afraid he'll spill the beans about Dr. Kreha being Maffy. What the hell? Dr. Kreha being Maffy? The cover art is just a hint that Usopp will be using his nose as an iron sight, dude. Yeah, we'll take anything, man. Hey, at this point, we'll even take something like this, brother. Anything for Usopp. Give him something. I just hope Brook doesn't get domied. Oh. Yeah, now that Emu is actually fighting somebody, I wonder if he'll domi Brook. Will he be able to? Again, we do not know who can and who cannot get Domi Reversi. Is there an upper limit? Is there a condition that needs to be fulfilled minus just being in between two black pieces? I guess we'll find that out next week. Yeah, I think we definitely will find that out. And hell, maybe even the Straw Hats that just got freed by Gunko will get turned. But if Emu doesn't resort to Domi Reversi, maybe that's a hint. If Emu doesn't do it, which is essentially their bread and butter, right? They spawned in, did it to Roxy Zebek. They spawned in, did it to Dorian Brogy. If they don't do it to Brook, maybe it's because it won't work on Brook. I think that's one way to look at it. Sommers is like Will Ferrell when he's playing a villain. Yeah, just nothing but comedy. And like I said, we're at the point where whenever St. Sommers messes up, I just laugh at it. Like, I just genuinely have a good chuckle at it at this point. How can the bar just keep on dropping? It's already in hell, guys. It's already in hell. I think you were right to say we're going to see a Sanji versus Sommers fight due to her being tied up and her being hurt by the thorns that could maybe awaken his COC question mark. Kind of like how Robin turned into her demon form in Wano. That could be it. I would love that actually. Yeah, Robin saved Sanji and Wano. So this time around, Sanji's gonna pay the debt and save Robin. Actually, two birds with one stone. Not only would he be saving Robin by beating St. Sommers, but he'd also be saving the kids, which is something Nami wants to do. Actually, that's something a lot of people here in Elbaf want to do. So yes, Sanji zooming off to fight St. Sommers, I think is going to be key. I think Oda made a really smart way to get around the whole why Brook hasn't ever mentioned Gunko or even conjure any memories of her during the Rumbar Pirates flashback, when she played such an important role in his life, by making Brook hate her and not wanting to remember her. He essentially wiped her off of his memory until she showed up in front of him again. Yeah, it reminds me of Sanji at Whole Cake Island, where the Straw Hats were very shocked that he had a family, and Sanji's reasoning was, hey guys, it's not like I didn't want to tell you, it's just that I didn't think it was relevant, and they are bad memories. So it does look like Oda is going down that same route, and it makes sense. And one thing that's really funny too, is that even when it comes to the Rumbar Pirate flashback, the Straw Hats don't really know what happened in the final moments, because the flashback we got during Thriller Bark was for us, the audience. Brook was playing the piano, everybody was singing and dancing, and that's when we saw the Rumbar Pirates dying. That's when we got the whole flashback, and that's just kind of how it is. It's like Law's flashback, where Law was like the only person who thought about it. Nobody else talked about it. Nobody else heard it. It was just for us. Even with the Nolan and Kagara one, there are some flashbacks that really are just dedicated for the fan base, which is kind of funny. I mean, hell, looking at just recent events, God Valley, Roxy Zebek, that was for us. Loki did not tell any of that to the Straw Hats. So it's just really funny thinking about how that all goes down. And I do wonder, like, since the Straw Hats are out on the open seas for so long, why don't they share more stories with each other, man? Like, what are you doing half the day on the Thousand Sunny other than just working out or just cooking? It's like, guys, like, make a bonfire, share your stories. Off topic, but I'm rewatching One Piece, and in episode 898, at 1845, Basil Hawkins quite literally used Domi Reversi. All right, let's see it. He throws the card at him. And I wouldn't say this is quite literally Domi Reversi. Yeah, he draws a bad card. It's not Domi Reversi. You could say it's similar because they get enraged, but Domi Reversi is very distinct. You get the demon wings, the demon horns, you get 10 times bigger, you have to follow your master's commands, and there's the whole like magic sigil thing that you flip onto. Basil Hawkins, his cards are just a little bit different. Obviously, his cards have nothing to do with his Devil Fruit, so Basil Hawkins is pretty much using magic like Emu, but it's a different spell, I'd say. So I wouldn't exactly say that it's quite literally Domi Reversi, but it makes people go berserk. This says, I think Luffy's dream has something to do with a song. Maybe. Who wants the whole world to sing together? That'd be so crazy. Everybody just comes in for a little High School Musical, huh? I mean, we do know that Luffy's dream is ridiculous. So maybe, I just feel like this wouldn't be possible though. Which, I mean, granted, that's what all the Straw Hats said, right? Like, hey, that's crazy, Luffy. Why would that happen? Huh, a song. I don't know. Because the thing is, Roger wanted the same thing. Roger and Luffy's dream are the same. So did Roger also want to just sing with everybody? I'm not too sure. This says, I think the Summers panel is gonna be A-grade One Piece wackiness. He's about to get slimed out by Emu. Moo's gonna kill Summers. Yeah, there they go. Sigh, where do they find these people? I'm just here to see who can be the most silly. Oh, the cover page, yeah. I mean, at this point, it just feels like it's ad-libbed, right? Usopp, Honey Nose, catching a beetle, Chopper's licking his lips. Brother, what is going on? But with that being said, though, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I really freaking appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video here at this channel, which will be the prediction video. So if you have a one-line prediction for 1174, make sure to drop it as a reply in the pinned comment, and we will be checking it out soon. But yeah, with that being said, you guys take care, stay safe, and peace out, brothers.